Hi, Dave Roscoe here. It is Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, and there isn't much to talk about. I didn't do a show yesterday. Um, there's a lot going on. Dealing with some stuff at home. Had my heating system go out on me yesterday. It's kind of working again today, but the heating people have to come back out tomorrow, so that's still going on. And of course, work is picking up. I don't know how regular I'm going to be able to be putting out shows, just because there's a lot going on, and especially with work, and there isn't a lot of daily news. I like to get on here daily just so that you got a voice to listen to, you got somewhere to go. But at some point, you have to wonder, like, if I don't have anything to say, what's the point? But we'll see how it goes. I'm not making any decisions yet. There's been a recent price pump with the Pi coin. As you can see behind me, it's currently at 26.5 cents. And it's not obvious why. Now, I personally think that it's probably because of the recent news, the upgrade to the KYC system that unlocked almost 4 million tentative KYC applications. I think that was a positive thing, because that was weighing down a lot of people's sentiment over the Pi coin. The upgrades to the Pi App Studio, I think, was a welcome bit of news. And by the way, speaking of which, you can now delete apps that you've created, so you don't have to clutter the app space with apps that you don't tend to move forward with, just FYI. And also the supply reduction. Now, mind you, there's been more than enough new unlocks to offset the supply reduction, but that doesn't mean they actually made it to the exchanges. But these are all things that I think are contributing to the pump of the Pi coin. Now, cryptos in general are doing a little bit better, and I think that's because there's been some positive movement on the tariff situation, especially with the U.S. Looking to make a deal with China, which would be a big thing. Tariffs and trade deals have been weighing on the economy pretty heavily lately, and when the economy's under stress, so are securities and cryptos. So. And I've also got a couple of things on the rumor mill would like to talk about as well. But first, the metrics. The circulating supply is at 8.28 billion Pi, and there were no user accounts migrated yesterday. There is currently 23.4 million Pi in the Pi migration wallet, and migrations are not happening now. They were happening earlier today. The last migration was about 3 hours ago. The migrated unlock rewards are at 3.21 billion Pi, and there were 10.7 million Pi unlocked since Friday, and are now free to be traded on the open markets. Now, I already talked about the price pump, but there's a couple of things on the rumor mill that I want to talk about. Once again, we're talking about the ISO 20022 protocol and the impact on the Pi network for compliance. And the rumors have been out that the Pi network is pursuing this, and it would be a good thing. I don't necessarily think it's a big thing right now, but it is a good chess move in that it positions the Pi network to be ready for the future. In particular, integration with the Swift network. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. It says here, Pi Network's upcoming integration with ISO 20022 standard is drawing attention across the crypto and fintech industries. Many are wondering if aligning with this global banking standard could put Pi Network in the same category as XRP, XLM, and HBAR, digital assets known for bridging crypto and traditional finance. Well, obviously they would need to, right? If Pi expects to be a transparently usable currency, then it has to be able to move freely in the banking system. And for digital assets, that is Swift. ISO 20022 is the compliance on-ramp to Swift. This article breaks down Pi Network's ISO 20022 roadmap, compares it to HRP, XLM, and HBAR, and explains how Swift's own upgrade to ISO 20022 could shape Pi's role in global markets. I'm a little tongue-tied today. ISO 20022 is the international standard for financial messaging, the common language that banks use to exchange transaction data. It replaces outdated Swift MT messages with structured XML formats that carry richer information. This standard reduces errors, speeds up reconciliation, and enhances compliance. In simple terms, ISO 20022 lets banks speak the same digital language. By 2025, nearly all major financial institutions will adopt it as their default system for payments and settlements. For cryptocurrencies, ISO 20022 represents a bridge between blockchain and banking. When a blockchain aligns with this standard, its payment data can be easily read and processed by traditional financial systems. This interoperability is crucial for projects seeking legitimacy, faster remittances, and smoother compliance with global regulations. Now, by the way, the reason I'm reading this one versus the earlier one that I mentioned last week was because that one was mostly all hype about ISO 20022 and how this was a big thing for the Pi network. This particular article goes more into explaining what ISO 20022 is in more of a layman's language for the most part. So I thought this was a better educational article on ISO 20022 itself. A blockchain that follows ISO 20022 can include detailed transaction metadata such as sender, receiver, purpose, and compliance flags, helping regulators and auditors and payment processors interpret crypto payments with the same precision as fiat transactions. Launched in 2019 by Stanford graduates, Pi Network aims to bring crypto to the masses through mobile mining. This project has grown to more than 50 million registered users, making it one of the largest social crypto ecosystems. Now, Pi's development team is preparing for a major step, integrating ISO 20022 by November 22, 2025, the same date when global banks complete their transaction to the new standard. Well, this remains to be seen. And this is where the speculative aspect comes. I've seen nothing down the pipeline coming from the Pi network or anyone else of credibility to suggest that this is actually a thing. Like I said, I do suspect that the Pi network will pursue this. I just don't know if this is in their pipeline right now. Time will tell. And the rest of this goes on to propose a timeline. And I'm not going to read any of that. So the key part of this was that the explanation of what ISO 20022 is and why we use it and how this benefits crypto and potentially the Pi network. Time will tell if this article has any legitimacy with respect to the time frame for rolling that out. And another thing I want to show, this is from a much larger article that goes into a lot of things that go way back. But the one thing that I wanted to point out here is that there's been rumors that Pi has set up a 1 billion Pi liquidity pool. And you have to question why. And now, usually the liquidity pools are used to set up projects that they're working on or that they're setting up for someone else, like a big player, like an exchange or something. And this article says that in a groundbreaking move, the Pi network ecosystem has transferred 1 billion Pi coins to a dedicated wallet, marking a significant milestone in its roadmap. This initiative aims to establish a liquidity pool, which will not only streamline transactions for its users known as pioneers, but also open new avenues for developers to innovate within the ecosystem. Well, that particular statement's not right. Pi already has its own internal liquidity. Liquidity pools are for other projects. So we'll have to see what that's all about. Liquidity pools are pivotal for decentralized finance as they act as shared resources that simplify asset trading and exchange. For Pi Network, this means reduced delays and minimized price fluctuations, ensuring seamless transactions for its community. The liquidity pool also contributes to stabilizing the coin's value, creating a more predictable and reliable trading environment. Again, I don't see how this benefits the Pi Network and its users. This has to be set up. This is what you'd use to set up a project, something new, because there's already built-in liquidity to the Pi Network as a whole. Moreover, developers stand to benefit immensely from this development. With access to ample liquidity, they can create advanced applications and services tailored for the Pi Network, enhancing its utility and appeal. From facilitating real-world transactions to enabling sophisticated blockchain-based applications, the network is poised to offer a range of innovative services powered by Pi. Their strategic allocation underscores Pi Network's commitment to building a robust and inclusive ecosystem. By fostering stability and utility, the move is expected to attract more users, developers, and businesses, further solidifying Pi's position in the blockchain and DeFi landscape. Now, I'm not going to read any more of this because I'm only interested in the liquidity pool. If you know that the Pi Network tokenomics, the liquidity pools come out of a specific wallet, which is set up for this purpose. And I believe, don't quote me on this, it's 5% of 100 billion. Now, if you look in the FAQ that I put out with the Pi Network important wallets, it lists which wallet contains the funds to support liquidity pools. And this article does not mention any of the wallets involved in this. So it's unclear to me if this actually is coming out of a Pi Network liquidity pool and being set up as a liquidity pool for something else. But if it is, it's potentially significant news and it's worth noting. But there's nothing confirmed. There's not enough information here. So that's why I'm categorizing this as rumor mill until we hear otherwise. Well, that's all I've got for today. Like I said, there's not much going on, but I wanted to pop in here and give you a quick update. And I'm gonna play it day by day with respect to if I do a daily update. I will try to let you know if I'm not, but don't kill me if I lapse. I'm a little absent-minded, especially when I'm busy, because I get distracted. But if anything breaks, I'll be sure to hop on and let you know. But until then, don't panic, stay the course, and remember, the success of the Pi Network begins with you. Pi to the moon. Peace.